Balls started out as perfect symmetrically weighted spheres, and when you go to a bowling alley, the house balls there are still just that. But when you drill holes in the ball, you take some weight out of one side. So to rebalance it, ball manufacturers added a small pancake weight on the same side as the holes. But then ball manufacturers got the idea they could add different weights inside the ball to improve their performance. You can have two balls that look identical from the outside, weigh exactly the same amount, and yet roll differently. If the mass is more concentrated around the axis of rotation, say you have a dense cylinder inside the ball, well then it has a lower moment of inertia. And this means for the same amount of energy input, it will spin faster. In bowling, they prefer to talk about an analogous concept, radius of gyration, or RG. If you were to concentrate the entire mass of the ball onto a hoop with the same moment of inertia, its radius would be the radius of gyration. So smaller radius of gyration just means lower moment of inertia, which translates into more rotation that a bowler can get on the ball.
Some people at lower rev rates say, well, it just spins faster. Like, it's kind of crazy. And then somebody finally did a study and it turns out, it's like 8%, for every 0.05. And so depending on what your rev rate is, it can be fairly significant.
An ability to spin the balls faster gives a bowler the ability to hook the ball more sharply further down the lane, giving them a better chance of achieving that 6-degree entry angle. What was amazing for me to learn is that the weight blocks in these balls aren't even centered. There's a heavy side and a lighter side on purpose, and you can find and mark this side by letting the ball spin freely on a cushion of air until it comes to rest heavy side down. They showed me a great demonstration of how the position of the center of gravity can affect the movement of the ball. When the center of mass is on the left side of the ball, it pulls in the same direction as the spin, helping the ball hook to the left into the pins.
Same exact ball, same numbers, just different static imbalance, basically.
But here is a flipped bowling ball where the center of mass is on the right. Now the ball starts to hook into the left, but at the end something weird happens.
No.
The center of mass pulls it over to the right. This effect is only really noticeable when the ball is thrown slowly. These days, there are tons of different weight blocks that go inside bowling balls, and they can be grouped into two categories, symmetric and asymmetric. For all these weight blocks, the minimum moment of inertia, or in bowling terms, the smallest RG axis, is identified by a pin, which is visible on the outside of the ball. It will spin most easily about this axis. For the symmetric weight blocks, the ball doesn't change as you rotate it about this axis, so the maximum moment of inertia is rotating about any axis that passes through the equator of the ball. I certainly didn't expect bowling balls to have asymmetric cores, but it turns out what look like perfect spheres actually have three different principal axes of rotation: minimum moment of inertia, maximum moment of inertia, and intermediate moment of inertia.
So this right here is our dart code. This is one of our asymmetric balls that has a Rad4 core in it. So this has a preferred spin axis. And what we're going to do now is we're going to put it on the determinator and show how it actually will spin it and find it no matter how we position it on there.
So you spin them up on this machine until they settle into the way they like to spin, what the bowlers call their preferred spin axis, or PSA. But why would you want a ball to be an asymmetric top? Well, professional bowlers drill their balls so that at launch, the axis of rotation is somewhere between the minimum and maximum moment of inertia. And as a result, as the ball goes down the lane spinning, it precesses like a gyroscope. The axis of rotation rotates around, causing the point of contact between the ball and the lane to change. This precession means that different parts of the ball contact the lane. And you can see this when the ball comes back by the spread out lines of oil on the ball's surface. Bowlers call this track flare, and it's desirable because it means once the ball hits the unoiled part of the lane, it gets traction faster and hooks more dramatically back to the pins. This is what asymmetric cores are used for. They have larger differences between their moments of inertia in different axes, or what bowlers call RG differential, which makes the ball precess. If you spin a ball around its minimum or maximum moment of inertia, it precesses less, and there's much less flare, meaning oil builds up on one part of the ball. This reduces the friction over the dry part of the lane, so the ball hooks less.